You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Ian, look at this.
What, it's a police box. What on earth is he doing here? I mean, these things are usually on the street. I feel it. I feel it. You feel it?
Faint vibration.
It's alive.
Earth Station Who, a fun mashup exploring over 60 years of the Doctor Who universe. Hold on tight. You never know where the crew of the TARDIS is going next.
Hey there, my friends, and welcome to the new episode of Earth Station Who. That's right, we're back after a little bit, and boy, did we have a nice little break. And it's good to talk about some Doctor Who, and we figured, what else should we start talking about? But we're going back to the 10th Doctor era. That's right. We're doing the two-parter. We're doing, of course, the Daleks in Manhattan and Evolution of the Daleks. Should be a ton of fun. You know, we haven't seen the Daleks in a bit, and it's always fun to get a good Dalek story. But instead, we gave you this one for us to review. So it should be interesting to hear people's opinions on it. We got a great crew lined up for it. And, of course, we got a guest. We have a return of Dave Chapman. Welcome, sir.
Hello, hello, hello.
And so there will be no Geek Seat segment this time because Dave still has the strap marks from last time.
Hurts.
Hey, put some lotion on it. You know, he puts the lotion on it.
He said that. I'm like, he's gonna, yep.
Yep, of course I did. Of course I went there. And let's say hey to our regulars, of course. Let's say hi to Ms. Melanie Dean.
Hello, everybody. I can't wait to chat about Doctor Who with all of you.
Ooh, she made a rhyme. Wow, that's pretty awesome. And Ms. Mary Ogle.
Hello, everybody. It is fantastic to be here.
And last but never least in our heart is Mr. Michael Gordon, right
Howdy.
from Dragon Con. You survived.
Yeah, sorry if my voice is a little scratchy. But you know what I always say? If you come out of Dragon Con and you're not exhausted and you feel great, you did it wrong.
I saw the pictures. I can attest.
And I definitely didn't do it wrong this time. It was an amazing time, and I was I love Dragon Con, as many of you know. So
of course. And for those who were at Dragon Con, I hope everybody had a great time, and we hope you guys are recovering and you got to miss the con crud, as we like to say, because a lot of it is going around this year. So, knock on wood, you're safe. And everything.
I mean, you get 75,000 people together, stuff's going to happen.
No, and it looked like you guys had some great weather for it too this year.
Yeah, the weather was pretty
was
good.
outside, but
Yeah. Well, I think some people were. Actually, I did skip the habit trails a few times because it was nice and breezy outside. So
that's awesome.
I will say that that did help a lot.
Oh yeah, that's true. And also the line to get into the America's Mart, of course, is always. I heard only one friend of mine who went said it only took him 90 minutes to get in. So
Yeah, I heard some stories about it taking quite a while.
Yep. So, all right, but at least it was nice and breezy, as you like to say. So definitely would love to hear from you guys at home. Please write us anytime. Feedback at earthstationwho.com. We did get a little bit of feedback from our last episode, so we'll get into that at the end of the show. Of course, it's from our friend Peter, so.
Hi, Peter.
Yeah, so of course he's almost becoming very reliable and everything. I'm almost thinking of sending him our upcoming schedule so that way he
So
can be
prepare.
ready he can be prepared to write us about it each one. So it's kind of fun, but definitely feedback at Earth Station Who is definitely the best way to get in touch with us. Doctor Who news, there hasn't been a ton. It's becoming, lots of little dribbles here and there. But the big thing that had come out is that we will not be getting the war between the land and the sea until 2026.
Mm-hmm.
So, but, and from what I'm hearing is that's going to be the final Doctor Who stuff on Disney. But BBC says Doctor Who will continue. So the Doctor will be back. So whatever form it will be in.
It's just where we're all. It's like the wilderness years where we're all wandering around. Except we're trying to wander around finding out where it is. It's like where
Right,
new.
exactly.
Oh, it's
We're just
new.
kinda
Where
lost?
They're wandering around too. Don't.
Yeah.
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 They're wondering, don't you want us? Don't you want us? Don't you want us? Hey, don't you want us? Type of thing. So it'll be very interesting to see where Doctor Who does end up. And so, we'll be here the whole time. We'll be doing our show, waiting and, waiting, pushing Trial of a Time Lord off just a little bit further. So it's always a good thing to do. So, it's kind of cool with that. So we'll see where Doctor Who's going to be, what's going to be. I did see some great Doctor Who cosplay at Dragon Con. There was some great costumes and everything. And, no real Doctor Who guest other than Barrowman. And
Barrowman was last minute at addition too. So that was kind of surprising to me that they didn't have anybody who was more directly involved with Doctor Who there. But very strange.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of conventions going on this past weekend, so I guess maybe they were
Very
booked
much
elsewhere.
so.
I'm not really sure.
I think Shudi's on stage right now. I think
I don't think he's going to be doing conventions.
Yeah.
Anytime real soon.
Well, I mean, Dragon Con, I could see him doing.
Well, it's funny too because Judy and I were, watching a movie over the weekend, and there was a trailer for The Roses, and look who was up there! It was Judy. It's like,
he's not going to be hurting for work. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
No. Well, he deserves it. He's an amazing actor. And,
I agree.
And so it'll be very cool to see that, him get the work, and hopefully he'll, be able to, take full advantage of it and everything and his success. And, I wish him the best of luck. And hopefully for the 75th anniversary, we'll see him back as the Doctor. So,
but I did notice also that Barrowman, he was there, but he was sort of a replacement for one of the Arrow cast members that had to bow out. And he was in the Walk of Fame with the Arrow cast members seated there. So, the images and promo stuff that they used for him too was more Arrow based. So they really were sort of leaning into his time at Arrow more than they were his time at Doctor Who. So even that I found very strange. There was some Doctor Who programming by the Brit Tracks, our friends at the Brit Tracks, and our good friends over at the Fourth Dimension, right? They actually did a live streaming live broadcast as part of the media track. So, and I met up with some of them and talked to them as well. And so, there was some Doctor Who content still there, but it wasn't really prominent, which was kind of disappointing, but it was one less thing I had to worry about fitting in my schedule, so it was okay.
That's a good thing. I'm glad that worked out, though. So you didn't have to rush over to the basement of the Hilton. So
well, I stayed in the Hilton, so that wasn't really a big. That wasn't a big problem to rush over there, but I was going there anyway. But next year, right? So
exactly.
There's always next year. That's a good thing about Dragon Con.
So true. There's always going to be next year, and they already have the dates. So I think it's going to be, it's later this time. I think it's like starting September 3rd through the 7th, I think.
Well, it's always Labor Day weekend. So whenever that happens to land, whatever dates that is. And they've also contractually obligated now, or they signed the deal with the hotels for the next 3 years. So they're going to be set in that location at that time frame for a while. So.
No matter who owns the hotels or anything.
Well,
that's a whole different story on itself. Back to Doctor Who news. I heard we had a loss in the Doctor Who family. Mike G, you brought that up before.
Yeah, I saw that while I was at Dragon Con. I saw the news that Christopher H. Bidmead passed away. He was, for those people who are not sure, he's involved with the classic series. He was a actor, journalist, but also a screenwriter. And for Doctor Who, he was a story editor and for one season. And he was responsible for the actual stories and scripts for Legalopolis, Castrovalva, Frontios. Is that how you pronounce that?
Frontios, yeah, Frontios.
And Yeah, and I know him. I recognized him right away when I saw his picture online as passing, because he was like he did a lot of content for the bonus material and during that time frame. So they talked to him a lot. His scripts and his attitude about story editing particularly for Doctor Who was a lot more science based. He was a hardcore science fiction guy, so he brought a lot of more science. He wanted to make sure that, science fiction and science was really implemented in the show a lot. Boy, they really could have used him for this Daleks two-part we're about to talk about. Yeah. So he was 84. There's no cause of death listed for any of the notice I saw. But anyway, obviously, our thoughts are with his family and fans and friends as well. So it always kind of sucks when you lose a member of the Doctor Who family.
Of course. So Godspeed, and watch a Tom Baker episode to remember his work. So it's definitely worth watching, folks.
He also did a couple of things for Big Finish too. One of the Fifth Doctor stories, Renaissance of the Daleks, was based on a story that he wrote, and then he also there was one script that was not produced during his time there, and that was produced as a Sixth Doctor story called The Hollows of Time, and you can find that in the Big Finish Lost Stories series.
Gotcha. So definitely, folks, check it out. Definitely worth it. I don't think there's much other Doctor Who news that we really need to cover. So let's take a quick break and we'll be back. And we are going to be looking at Daleks in the Empire State Building and the Statue of Liberty and big pigs. I felt like it was I think it was a Pink Floyd thing.
Pig slaves.
Going through. Yeah, exactly. So we'll see you in a few, guys.
And welcome to the place where all the nerds go, to the Cigar Nerds Podcast, where pulp culture and cigars collide. From comics to movies and everything in between, we've got you covered. We've got the smokes, we've got the stories, let the laughter flow. Dive into the madness of the Cigar Nerd Podcast at cigarnerdpodcast.com and at Cigar Nerd Podcast on YouTube. See you there.
We're going back to the 10th Doctor era, and we are looking at, of course, Daleks in Manhattan and Evolution of the Daleks, which aired from the 21st of April 2007 all the way to the 28th of April of the same year, featuring the 10th Doctor and Martha, and actually had an appearance by Spider-Man in this. Well, it was Manhattan, so...
It was Spider-Man's grandfather.
Yes.
Yeah. It was
Parker.
Ben Parker's father,
Yeah. They never say his last name. So
No.
Frank, it could be
how
Frank
do we
Parker.
know?
Yeah.
Frank Parker.
Yeah.
That would have been fun, actually. But of course, they had no idea at the time that he was going to be cast as Spider-Man.
No, of course not. But his Southern accent was spot on. So good job. Yeah, this was an interesting storyline. I wouldn't call it
One
historical.
word for it.
Yeah. Let's get initial thoughts of this. Let's look at our guest first. Dave, what are your initial thoughts on this storyline?
I think had I watched it when it aired originally, because I didn't start with the new series till Matt Smith, I think I would have had different feelings about it, almost 20 years ago.
Right.
I think it would have. It has not held up very well.
No, not at all.
But all of the elements are things that I should like more than I like them all combined, which is a bit weird. It was less than the sum of its parts.
Nope. Okay. Fair enough. All right. Melanie.
So this is going to be interesting. I'd never seen these episodes.
What?
There's a lot of holes. There's quite a few holes in my episodes that I've just never seen of New Who, and this was an arc that I'd never seen until yesterday, and today I watched it again. So yeah,
you liked
I
it
really
so much you
freaking
watched
liked
it twice. Yeah, you
Oh
liked
yeah,
it.
I really freaking well. I mean, I watched the first episode yesterday, and then I was able to watch the second one
Okay.
today.
I was gonna say you watched it twice. No,
No, it's okay. So yeah, I love the hell out of this. I thought it was refreshing. It was nice to see how I really enjoyed the writing. So I'm gonna probably be a lot different than a lot of everybody else here from what the vibe I'm getting so far from people. But no, I really like the hell out of it, and we'll get into it.
Fantastic, Mr. Gordon.
I haven't rewatched this probably since they aired, because I think I don't know. I'd have to go back and look and see what my reviews were at the time, but I don't think they were it was very complimentary. And I do remember at the time being like, Daleks again. But as you pointed out, I think it's been a while. I mean, certainly Shooty didn't ever face the Dalek, so it's been a while since we've got a Dalek story. And I mean, I find, you can set your clock now because I'm about to go Chibnall. I'm about to Chibnall bash, but the post Chibnall era, so many things seem so much better. And I did really enjoy this one the second time around. I think there's some really, really, really interesting ideas here. Do they all come together well? Maybe. Well, yes, definitely not. But there's that, as you guys pointed out, that first part is full of interesting things. Like, I think the first, half of the first episode is really, really strong. And yeah, certain things don't play out very well, but I do really like a lot of things that happen here. And I do like, Andrew Garfield stands over here in this corner, but there's a lot of other really good performances, I think, here. And like I said, some interesting things that I think have ramifications going forward for the entire series. So I do think it's very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very interesting and different take on the Daleks than we've seen before and seen since, really.
No, I agree with that. And it ties really well into the Dalek mythos that we got during the Tennant era, especially with, when you saw them, the whole thing with the Cult of Skaro. And then, you had, the Dalek in this one, combining with the human. And then you have, Stolen Earth later. And, with, Dalek Khan and everything like that. And, so it's some interesting stuff with that.
It's also one of the rare stories. Sorry, just real quick. It's also one of the rare stories that happen in New York, which I like a lot. And do they pull it off well? Not as well as it could be, but I appreciate the attempt.
I was looking for River Song doing the dive off the building in this one, into the swimming pool.
Where were Amy and Rory?
Yeah. Exactly. So, all right, Mary, what do you got?
I'm not a fan of these episodes. This is maybe, I don't know, third or fourth time I've seen it. I wasn't a fan the first time around. It's just sort of meh. And I'm still sort of meh. The first part of the two-parter, way better than the second part. There's actually some good production design here. The acting is good. It's not like it's a total loss. It's not like the worst thing I've ever seen or anything like that, but it just does not go anywhere. And there's a great core idea, because the idea of what if the only way the Daleks could survive as a species was to not be Daleks? What if they had, that is a fascinating question, because their whole existence is based on they are this one monolithic thing. They are fascists. They are locked into this ideology. And so if they are forced out of that in order to survive, what would they do? Okay, that is a great question. That's a fascinating question. It is not answered here in any satisfying way at all.
No.
Most of it doesn't even make sense. I mean, even in Doctor Who absurdist terms, it just doesn't go anywhere, which kind of makes me sad, because it's one of those episodes that's very frustrating, because you can see that it could have been something much greater than what it turned out to be.
Oh, very much so. Like Mike said, I love the idea of Doctor Who filming in New York or being in New York. And the concept
in New York.
Trust me, I know they didn't
it was
film in
like
New
a
York.
stage set of New York, but it actually kind of worked because they were theater people.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. There were theater people. Even when the TARDIS first appeared at the base of the Statue of Liberty, they just used some warehouse or something for the brick wall and then green screened it up to make it look like they were at the base. And it's still, this is probably the third time I've seen this storyline. And it was like a wow moment seeing them at the base of the Statue of Liberty. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Even though I knew they weren't there, type thing. But, wish it would be nice. It would be nice to actually see them do a Doctor Who episode in the city.
Yeah, because my understanding is that prior to this, on Doctor Who, at least on TV, they had never. I think there's one First Doctor story where they land on the Empire State Building.
Yes,
and then that's it. Like, they don't really do anything more. They don't explore the city or have a storyline there. That's all they kind of do. It's just one more place that they land. So
right, because I think they did that. The Daleks were chasing them in the storyline, and they were able to hide briefly on the basically on one of the levels of the Empire State Building.
Yeah, we won't get another really. I mean, obviously, we won't get another storyline in New York until Angels Take Manhattan, right? I think it's the next one that we get in New York, and that that has its own things going on there. So that's kind of crazy, but pay attention to that Statue of Liberty, because she'll come out later.
Yeah, just don't blink when you're at the statue. That's
exactly. Like, whatever you do, Doctor and Martha, don't blink when you're staring at the statue.
Exactly. So, or you find that one out later this season, but
I mean, it was nice to see Martha again. That part is nice, but they were heavy-handed about the unrequited love crap.
Oh, yeah, way too heavy.
There's
way
too in particular
heavy.
Where that got in the way. Sure.
Oh, yeah. Especially like when Tallulah was like, going, "Oh, that's your boyfriend, isn't it? I could see it on your face." And it's like, oh, and her accent. Oh my God, could they get any forced?
Yeah, I was kind of waiting for her to bust out into Suddenly Seymour.
Exactly.
My theory on Tallulah.
I like Miranda Raisin in this. I like her as Tallulah a lot. I mean, of course I know her from MI5, and because she was on there for years, and I like her as an actress. So I thought she was having fun with the role, playing. I mean, she's not these. Look, it's they're not playing actual like people. They're not trying to make it real, right? They're playing like stage production people or characters that you would recognize from the movies of the 30s and the 40s, right?
So, of course.
So I think that's
a deliberate stereotype.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I thought she was great.
The whole thing with her and Laszlo, it was just like, it felt like it was something out of like a, one of the gangster movies from the 1930s or something. It was expected Cagney to pop in or something like that.
My understanding is that there was some gangster elements originally part of the script, but then I think it was getting too much. So I think Russell... actually, what I found really interesting is that originally this two-parter was assigned to Stephen Moffat to write. And he was really busy doing, I believe, Jekyll at the time. And so he opted to do Blink instead. Smart move. And so it would have been really interesting to see Moffat do this two-parter. I don't want to, dismiss Helen Rayner's writing here, because I think she does, like I said, she has some interesting ideas. But I don't know. I think this had a lot of tinkering with Russell T in it too. So I don't know. The end result is what it is, and we don't know who is responsible for what. But I do find it interesting that they tried to do a lot.
Oh, very much so.
Because you've
They're
got like
very
Phantom of the
ambitious.
Opera elements to this about the theater and the disfigured, lover. Like it's usually, so you've got those elements in this too, and you've got this alien invasion story, and you're telling this thing about last of their kind, that both the Doctor and the Daleks, and this evolution, if you will, of their encounters and their journey together. And it's just too much they needed to streamline it down, even more so, I think. Because you didn't need the pig guys. You didn't need the pig guys.
No, they didn't need to be there at all. Well, and even the whole premise of them, what is the point of, why would the Daleks choose a human shell that only makes them more vulnerable? They chose to live their lives in tanks. Why would they choose a human shell as a quote unquote evolution?
Well, the rationale was that the humans are everywhere.
Yeah,
and there's only 4
but
of
that's
us.
a stupid rationale.
Obviously, they're doing something right. So, I don't know. In its own simplistic way, because the Daleks aren't deep thinkers.
No,
they're never known for deep thinking. So they just look at a thing, going, this is true. So this must be the way we should do things, or at least one of them did. The other ones weren't convinced. So, and I don't think we'd ever really seen. Yeah. I don't know if we'd ever seen that before. Had we? Like Daleks not getting along?
No, it's always been. Well, there was the Dalek Civil War during the Pertwee era.
Yeah, and they were already kind of offshoots from the Daleks. They were like a side organization. So
yeah, because
Cult of Skaro.
Because that's, when they introduced the Cult of Skaro, the Doctor was like, Daleks don't have individual names. They were just, they're Dalek, type thing. And so, so there was some, some issues there already. So it was very interesting to see where they came from and what came of that. And I just, it had especially the first episode, I thought worked a lot better than the second episode. And, I actually even liked the scene where, the foreman was, being dragged down for the experiment. And, because he was, thinking, oh, I'm going to get my just rewards. Oh, he got his just rewards. All right. And then the tentacles, going around him and him being sucked into combined with that was very well done for that era, especially for 2007. Mm-hmm. I thought that was actually not too shabby, and on a BBC budget, especially.
I actually thought the second episode was slightly better in a lot of ways. Like Tallulah was much less grating in the second episode. I in the first episode it was like, will you shut up? We're going to get killed if you don't stop calling to Laszlo.
Laszlo.
I swear, she grows old, goes into the far future, and meets a guy named Benny, and becomes that woman. That's what that stuck in my head with as she's calling to Laszlo, and we're like, shut up. I really liked Solomon.
Solomon was great,
and Solomon in the second episode
was amazing.
Really, they have such a little time for character development, and that last scene where he finally gets, spoiler, killed by the Daleks, which everybody knows is coming. Like as soon as he stops and starts talking to a Dalek, he's dead. But that he really honestly and truly believed that he could talk down this alien. Mm-hmm. And into a peaceful resolution. And he truly believed that to his core, really spoke to his character.
Well, even then, he even says that he needs to try.
Yeah.
Because he knows the weapons aren't going to do anything. That's that's his last ditch effort of trying.
Yeah.
And using his best weapon, which was his words.
Yeah. He's not dumb. He knows what he's talking to.
Because in his first scene, he's the moderator between, did you steal the bread? I know we're all hungry, and and he was the level-headed one. And so when he got, basically assassinated, destroyed, killed, whatever you want to call it, by the Dalek, it was not surprising at all.
No.
Because there is no talking reason to a Dalek.
Right. Well, I mean, but that's the thing. It's like, and he's fulfilling the role that usually the Doctor does, right? The Doctor is usually the one that says, like, let's take a minute, let's try to communicate. But of course, the Doctor knows the Daleks better than anybody, and he knows that's not going to happen. That's not going to work here. But he's of course, when it comes to the Daleks, he's blind, so it takes him a long time to get on board. But then I do find in the second half, I mean, man, David's trying so hard to make a lot of these scenes work. You can really tell, like, some of the scenes between, like, there's a sequence between the Doctor and Dalek Sec after he's transformed, where they're kind of like, where he convinces him to help him or whatever, and man, David's trying so hard, but this guy's in so much, like, he's not able to give anything because his delivery, and the actor's probably trying to be like a human Dalek, and how would a human Dalek speak? And he's got all these prosthetics on and all this sort of thing, and there's just nothing for David to work with. It's like working with a broom or something, and he's trying really hard, but there's not a lot you can do there.
Well, Melanie, I'm interested in your point of view, because you like this episode a lot more than we did. What was it that drew you to it?
Honestly, everything. I thought it was well written. The very beginning, I loved the hell that they brought Hoovervilles out. And that's one of those things that people don't realize, how many Hoovervilles there were during the Great Depression. So for me, as a history buff, that was something, or even just as an art history person, Dorothea Lange, the famous female photographer who did Migrant Mother and all that, all of those photos are from Hoovervilles. So those photos that you might see, like Migrant Mother and all those other ones, those came from those little shanty towns that were in the middle of New York City. So it's funny, like, in my mind, like, when it comes to history, always repeating itself, but humanity has the memory of Mayfly sometimes, like, where you see, like, right now we have, like, I don't know, tent cities. It's like, we had Hoovervilles. We've done this before. But anyway, so I was really happy that they were showing that, and that they were pointing out the fact that the Empire State Building was in fact being built during the still being pushed and everything. And if you look at that again from like a history kind of the perspective, or humanities kind of perspective, of why would you still keep building this huge monument to, like, a lot of money, and it was supposed to be putting tenants in it and all that kind of stuff during the Great Depression. I thought that was a nifty way of going, ooh, you can easily put a Dalek kind of storyline in here, because if on paper it doesn't really make sense that you would have, why would you keep building this because of that? And I love that the Solomon, which, by the way, love the little metaphor of his name Solomon, so he's wise like King Solomon. I mean, he was the one that actually literally broke the he didn't break the baby in half this time, but at least he just broke the piece of bread in half and said, we're all hungry.
Well, exactly.
But him pointing out that, look, greed just keeps on going, and showing the tower. All the workers, and that they showed some of the construction workers working up there, and a lot of them going, this isn't the safest conditions. This isn't really great. But you're still going to work because you want that $1 a day. And how just greed and corruption and all that kind of stuff kind of works. I really just had fun with this. And like I said, this is the first time I saw it. And after seeing like all the seasons as of late, after like post Chibnall, like Jodie, and then with seeing Ncuti back to back and not seeing Daleks, I was so refreshed to go, ooh, Dalek, ooh, a brand new Dalek story I haven't seen. This is awesome. But yeah, I thought the subplot, like the kind of like B characters, I loved Tallulah. I really liked Laszlo. I liked how that they started like the little, okay, here's the love story in the background. But for me, the voice act, the This was one that the accents weren't grating to me because it fit within the timeline. Again, I'm so much of a history idiot that this is how people spoke then, and who all that, to their credit, all the actors that they did get with people who could do a really good English accent or a really good American accent. I wasn't getting that. Haha, you're just putting one on, or you're just putting one on.
You didn't get a lot of Perry, basically.
I didn't get the parody. I didn't get any of that. No, people truly did talk like that.
No, they did. And it was interesting because I'm glad you caught a couple of different things that I was going to bring up, especially the accents and such were spot on.
Mm-hmm.
Even the way, like Tawila was talking and, throwing in some of the oi, and, stuff like that. You didn't, people who were not Jewish even talked that way back then. And it was just part of the vocabulary, especially up there in New York.
I had great aunts that sounded like that.
Yeah.
So that was no, that's Aunt Rosie. Like Tallulah to me, that was Aunt Rosie.
Exactly. And
she sounded
the thing, and I loved how she had the very, and then she could also go, "Hey, watch it," type thing. And that was so good. But also, I did get a part of, Little Shop of Horrors from her. So it was, yeah, big time.
But I mean, that comes from somewhere too, right? So it's not like that. Yeah, no, it's not
exactly.
Like that's the only.
Yeah, that is based on reality. I mean, as far as the accents go.
Oh, truly. But it was interesting too. And Mel, I'm glad you brought this up. Was the whole thing with people living in the tent cities and everything, and Solomon pointing out the Empire State Building going up right in front of them. And literally the biggest building in the world was being built while people were, scrounging for bread, and, and the tying into today's society, how it is. It was just amazing.
Yeah. And then there was a couple shots of them seeing New York and seeing Chrysler's building right there. And I'm like, that Chrysler building just had gotten done and had just became the world's biggest building. Yeah, here we go. Somebody else, another monument to greed's about to come up. Whoop.
Exactly. Or I could say something, but I don't want to get an explicit warning on this one. So.
But the other things, I think the point
so you don't want to talk about the
point of the
Daleks. Yeah, I agree with most of the points you're bringing up.
But
actually,
the point of the Daleks and that they're trying to evolve, that to me is going back to the fourth Doctor and going, the Daleks never always looked like spongy, goopy little tentacle little things. They forced an evolution because they wanted to become the greatest version of themselves. And I really liked when I think it was I can't remember which episode it was. But when the 10th Doctor was talking to Laszlo in pig form, how in the aside of once in a while a spark comes, from someone that might actually be the person who will push that whole. He was seeing how Dalek Sec could be that catalyst to shift the Daleks back to maybe being good and a good species and all this kind of fun stuff. And I think that's why he was trying so damn hard to be like, no. I see what this one's got a shot to actually bring them back, right their course again. Just like how the Daleks did bad with their course and went to what we know as Daleks in the little pepper pots. But we see how, but even when he was saying all that, I love that little aside where you see one of the Daleks, I think it was maybe Dalek Khan, just kind of looking at going, what are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we see what's going on. So yeah, I liked how they started making Dalek Sec just this visionary that he was like, no, I can see now where we can do what we can do and what the future lies before us and all the hope and blah, 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 blah. But all the Daleks were just, again, nope, none of that. Nope. We don't like it.
They were Daleks, basically.
They were Daleks. And then they had him chained up and walking on like a slave. But when they popped up through the stage. So to show that they
humiliating him.
To humiliate him.
Yeah.
And then just the effect when he got exterminated. I love that you could see the skull with the little eye socket head. I thought that was awesome. I was like, look, he's a Cyclops.
Mm-hmm. It was pretty awesome. No, there were part. I'm going to say I didn't hate it. I really didn't hate this. I enjoyed. There were parts I really enjoyed. It just didn't move as fast as I was hoping it would. So it felt like for me, if it felt like I loved the first part because it was world building. It was setting the site for the characters, and I agree everything about the pigs. They didn't need to be there, and but the Daleks in the past have used, humanoid forms to,
Yeah, well,
as slaves.
yeah, they were establishing that they had no problems with genetic mutations and using other life forms for genetic experiments, which is very, harking back to the Nazis. So, I mean, I understand why they were there, but I don't think they worked. I don't think they were just kind of props. And I think that was a problem. I think for me, the word that describes this series of episodes is frustration. I find them very frustrating because yes, I agree with a lot of what Melanie said. There are good parts of these stories, but to me it doesn't work out. It doesn't come to fruition. It doesn't lead to an interesting place. It just kind of peters out and doesn't really go anywhere.
It's what I said at the beginning. It is less than the sum of its parts.
Yes.
So many great elements in here.
Yeah.
And you put them all together and it's not.
Well,
exactly.
The decision is that, I mean, and I think it goes forward later on. We'll have more we'll have more episodes that deal with the Daleks and some of the things about them. But in order to do that, we'll have to reintroduce Davros, right? So that has to happen because on their own, they're just, and it's oppressive. And really, looking at the original story, Laszlo was originally supposed to die because he has, during the course of the story, he has all the earmarks that he's going to die, probably sacrificing himself,
times,
right?
Yeah.
So he just seems like he's got a red shirt on the entire time. So I think it is kind of a nice, moment when the Doctor goes, "No, I'm not going to have that happen," and does, save his life. He can't change him genetically, unfortunately, but he does save his life. So that's something we get at the end. But it is really, I mean, even if Laszlo had died, this would be like a really depressing two-parter because it's basically saying like the Daleks can't change. All this, everything that you can do, try to make happen as far as the evolution and hope and everything for this stuff to happen is just for naught. Like it is really depressing and dark. But the director, James Strong, and everything doesn't let it get too dark. So that's a weird dichotomy there because it's being shown in this sort of weird way that it's more hopeful than I think the story is wanting to be. So I do feel like the direction is not very inspired in this. Some of the sequences don't play out very well, or they're just there. They just kind of he's servicing things, but he's not really taking on a style there, and it's not really helping. And so much so that like in the third act of the second part, like there's all this action happening, and the way that it's directed and everything, it just seems like you guys pointed out, it seems like it's kind of slow and meandering. And Murray Gold's trying his hardest to like pump some music into life in this thing, and you're just kind of like, dude, like chill out because the music seems like it's too much just because there's not enough action to go along with what Murray's writing. And so
the music almost seemed overpowering.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
I think he's desperately trying to inject some life into those scenes.
I think that's what he was told. I think he was told, like, I think, Russell T said, dude, like, this is not really working. Like, can you beef it up a little bit? And Murray's like, okay. And so
here we go.
He cranks it up to 11. And so, yeah. The whole sequence of the Doctor going up and trying to fix the antenna or trying to disable the antenna and losing his, it falls flat. And then Martha and them trying to, electrocute the pig, it just falls flat. I think that all doesn't work. And so, yes, I agree that there's elements of this that don't work, and the conclusion of this is kind of disappointing. But I do think there's still a lot here that I liked anyway.
We've seen this so many times. The Doctor trying to disable the antenna.
I know, right?
That does tend to happen a lot.
That does happen a lot.
It's not the last time we'll see it on the show.
No, not at all.
The Doctor's greatest nemesis, the antenna.
And as I mentioned before, when we were talking about, Christopher Bidmead and bringing science into it, I'm like, first of all, he's talking about gamma radiation and everything, and I'm like, are they all going to turn into Hulks?
Yes.
And then, the solar flare is going to cause an electrical storm, which is going to cause lightning to come down. And I'm just like, that's not how any of these things really work.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
I have
yes, fine. I'm here for it.
3 words for you, because Doctor Who.
Yeah, but I mean, those. It's just one of those things that you sort of point to, like the critics of Schuette's era or this last recent RTD era, is that it's too fanciful. It's too it's not science-based science enough. And I'm like, New Who really is not ever been science-based. Like,
no. There's
a lot of stuff here that they just kind of hand wave, and there's a lot of hand waving here.
I really appreciated that the Dalek. I can never say the word.
Those panels,
the panels weren't riveted to it, but that they had clamps on them, because they at least thought it through of going, if this is like the strongest metal alloy ever created, you're not going to be able just to pop a rivet through it. So I really appreciated that. I also now know that the Sonic can work on rivets. So that was pretty cool.
Well, it's metal, of course it can. Yeah. It's not wood. It's okay.
Not wood. Okay.
Yeah.
The Sonic can work on whatever the script needs it to work on, and it doesn't work on whatever the script needs it not to work on.
Touche.
But that's how the Sonic works.
But once again, is it Millennium that did all the practical effects? Like for the pig, all the prosthetics of the pigmen,
the pigmen looked great. They
looked
great.
Amazing.
Even Laszlo looked great as the hybrid type thing.
Yeah, because the edges because there was times where he was being shot from behind.
Yeah.
And I couldn't see anything from his jawline, his ear, anything. Because even she, at one point, like Tallulah puts her hands right here, and it's holding his face, it's cradling his face, and it's over his shoulder. And again, the makeup is just flawless.
Yeah.
And it really
exactly.
and even Dalek Sec, just the idea that the actor, he's still using his mouth, but the eye moved left and right, it blinked, and the little tentacles were moving also, but I was really staring it down, trying to figure out where is there a little bit of, I think when it goes up and under a little, there's a little shadow
the actor
there.
can see through.
Yeah, that the actor might be able to have like just a little bit that they can see, because there's some areas where he's acting and he's moving in really tight quarters, and I'm going, all right, you have to be able to see at least down where you're going, because but I was just like staring it down, like, how is that built? How did they do that? I can't even imagine how heavy that thing was.
I was doing this. Oh, that had to be super heavy, especially if it had animatronics in it or some kind to move the things. So it was I do not fault the costumes at all in this, and they captured the clothing of the era really nicely. I thought it looked great. People
that they were Tommy guns for the Dalek, the human Daleks that were. Genetically became Frankenstein and they go over there, they grab their little Dalek things, and they were little Tommy guns. I'm like, you don't need the round. You know what? That's fine. Let's go with it. I love it. I'm here for it. I love it. It's aesthetic.
Because Doctor Who.
They just had fun. That's okay.
I tell you what, it seemed like, speaking of the costumes, I have to double check this, and I don't know if there's a way that I can like corroborate this or whatever, but it really looks like Solomon's hat is an Indiana Jones hat. I mean, it really looks like, I've studied like Indiana Jones hats before, and I have a couple of them here, and I'm like, man, it really looks like he's like, the actor must have been like, I get to wear an Indiana Jones hat. I get to wear I think I don't know if the proper name for those is fedora, but or there might be an offshoot of fedoras, but
I think it is a fedora.
It's a fedora, but it's a specific one.
Yeah, it's a specific one. And
yeah, well, you know, he did work with George. He did work with George Lucas before.
He was Captain Panaka.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, I was like,
true.
oh, I recognized him from episode 1.
And look, I mean, a lot of like Lucas stuff always shot at Pinewood, so there's a lot of like Star Wars and Indiana Jones props, I'm sure, all over the place in Britain.
Oh, you think? I'm shocked we didn't get a giant boulder.
As we mentioned, they did not actually go to Teen. I guess some of the stock footage was shot in New York, because I think they did make a trip to film some stock footage or whatever. But yeah,
some of the second unit stuff.
Yep. Yeah, but it was cool. Overall, you know, there was a lot to go. Ooh, it was pretty, but then it was like, the story. So, but you know, it'll be very interesting to hear what your guys' scores are. Any final thoughts before we go ahead and rate this one? Especially Mel, because it's your first time.
I adored everything about this. It was just fun. I just took all sense of, my bar was low because I was just like, oh, it's Doctor Who, and I haven't seen any Daleks or anything like that. And it was just so refreshing just to sit back and watch an episode that I hadn't seen before, and being able to have characters that I know and love. And I was just in my happy place for these 2 days. I truly was. And especially with an era of history and of American history that I really know the nuances of. So there was a lot of, they paid attention to so much. And I really appreciate that for especially a British show.
Yep. Exactly.
I did also really feel sad that Shooty never got to meet the Daleks, because man, that could have been epic.
Yeah, that would have been amazing.
I think David really had more than his share of Dalek stories.
Yeah.
And I wish Shooty could have had one, because that could have been fun.
If only he could have gotten one of Jodie's that she did, because she got 2 of them.
Like, you could have taken the same script or the same story. Like, please correct the second part in particular. But you could have taken the same script and had it be Shooty and one of his companions. You could pick either one, and it would have been entertaining.
Mm-hmm. I don't disagree with that. Totally don't disagree with that.
Oh,
all right, let's go ahead and rate this
mention
one.
real quick, the very, very end, I really adored the way that the DP did the end of the Doctor confronting Dalek Khan, and that they shot it long shot like a duel, where you only saw Khan, and then it went to the reverse. You only saw the Doctor, and then you're ready for that battle of, of wits or what have you. And Dalek Khan, all it was missing was Skeletor cackling, going, yeah, man, and just
peace out.
It was peacing out. That was I hate this, but I love it.
Yeah, I like that too, because it's set up like a duel, and yet the Doctor's got no weapons, so he's got nothing to fight with on that front, and the Dalek's got no wits and smarts about him, so he's got nothing to fight on that front. So what are we gonna do here? And it was okay, but I did like the fact that when confronted with it, the Dalek was just like, I can't handle this right now. Peace out.
Exactly.
something, bye.
I'm out of here. So, all right, let's go ahead and rate this one 1 out of 5. 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. All right, Dave, you're our guest.
I want to give it higher, but I can't justify giving it higher than 3.
Okay.
A perfectly slightly above average 3.
Okay, that's totally fair. Mary.
Man, I'm sort of waffling between 2.5 and 3, because it just frustrates me so much. So 2.75. And I just realized, we don't see very much of Martha in this. She doesn't get a lot to do in this. And in the scene she does get, it is the unrequited love scenes, which
The
isn't
puppy dog.
yeah, it's another source of frustration for me. I mean, really, Tallulah becomes the companion, and I'm actually okay with that because I like Tallulah as a
I did too.
character. So, I mean, it's one of those episodes that's just got great elements in it, but overall, I found it really unsatisfying. So, 2.75.
Okay, Mr. Gordon.
I'm going to give it a 3.5. I can't go as far as 4 because there's some issues, I admit, but I do like it a lot. And just to as far as Martha goes, I agree somewhat that she doesn't have an arc here or anything, but I did love there's at least 2 instances where the Doctor has her stay behind, but not just because he doesn't want her around or to be safe or whatever. He gives her stuff to do, and he's confident that she'll do it. She stays behind with purpose, and I did like the fact that so she does have purpose in this. Now she doesn't. Again, we don't get to see that a lot, and she doesn't get to interact with the Doctor as much in this one. But I did like the fact that I did feel like it was strong. She had still a strong outing.
Okay, fair enough. All right, Melanie.
I love the hell out of this episode. For a 2-episode arc, they had a lot of players to build they had a short time to build a strong ensemble cast, and I think that between like Tallulah, Laszlo, Dalek Khan, or at least his first version of the human, just Solomon, Frank Parker, that's going to be his last name from now on. Prove me wrong. I really, really, really love this episode. So for me, in my own thing, it's a 4.5. And the only reason I'm not giving it 5 because I just love the hell out of suspend my disbelief, and I got entertained. I'm as happy as a clam. It's a 4.5 though, because Justice for Martha, enough of the I just love him so much. You did the Rose thing. God, I hate the unrequited love part with Martha. I absolutely despise it. Justice for Martha. Get rid of that, and it would have been a perfect episode for me.
Yeah, even Tallulah at the end of the first episode was like, "Oh, you'll see your man soon. You'll be able to give him a smooch," and it's like,
and the little gay jokes that she was kind of doing. I'm like, I know, honey, you love show tunes, but you don't have to. How she kept saying, "Oh, he likes musical theater. Oh, it's this." I'm like, RTD, we see what you're doing.
We see what you're doing there. RTD is never subtle anyway. Anything he does,
bless his
he's as subtle as a Mack truck coming through.
But I just really don't. I just don't like that whole. Martha could have done so much better for her entire arc if she didn't have to be constantly puppy dog eyed on the Doctor.
Nope, exactly. I do not disagree. All right, my rating. I'm going to give this one a 3.5. I enjoyed it. I was going back between a 3 and a 3.5. And, when I started thinking about it, how much I liked the costumes, like the accents. I didn't feel like there were any fake accents in this one. And I enjoyed it. And it was fun seeing Andrew Garfield, pre Peter Parker. So it was fun to see that. And there was a lot of other actors in this you've seen, later on different shows. And so it was fun to see that. And it's Tennant, Tennant's always great as the Doctor. Him putting on his glasses and him taking them off and him running around and, like being the Doctor. I thought it was really good. I can't give it higher because I thought, it was predictable. It was a Dalek story. You knew what was pretty much going to happen. So, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it more this time, though, than I did the last time I saw it. Probably a different frame of mind and such, but who knows? So we definitely would love to hear from you guys. Please write us anytime. feedback@earthstationwho.com. All right, we have gotten a little bit of email. So let's go ahead and read the newest email from our friend Peter. Pete wrote us, and he basically said, "Hey, Mike, this is probably late. Time got away from me. As for companions, I do love River Song, but I don't consider her a companion as she had Time Lord DNA." Kind of.
So does that mean Romana was not?
Yeah, I was just going to say, so did Romana.
Yeah, exactly. And she was a companion. Yeah, so, and technically she had the regeneration powers because she was conceived in the time stream, on the TARDIS, on bunk beds with Rory and Amy. Just think about that.
No, don't.
Yeah.
Don't.
True companions. My favorite to return is Leela, as she was uncomplicated and willing to do anything to protect the Doctor, and was the first female whose lines did not include a lot of screaming. Very true. Very, very true. Ace is next. Who doesn't love a girl who makes explosives? In fact, I have a hard time finding a companion I did not like, from Sarah Jane to Rose to Amy to Clara, all people I would love to spend time with and want to do it again, and they all had long runs on the series. Unit spinoff would be a great place to meet Freema Agyeman again. Freema did a great with her role, and she would be great with Unit before, but please, no Mickey. Thanks, Peter. Well,
Thanks,
we
Peter.
do agree with that. Thank you, Peter, as always.
Yeah.
We appreciate you. So that was a fun episode. We've gotten a lot of, looks on that one and a lot of thumbs up for that up on our YouTube channel. So please, check it out if you get a chance. And, we have, we're just not voices anymore. We're actually pretty faces. So it's always nice.
We're faces.
We're faces.
Yeah.
So you can check us up on our YouTube channel. I think we've been doing YouTube pretty regularly now for like last year and a half. So you could see all our stories and such through it. And, and I went through for that last one and I put pictures of every single effing companion there was up on the video. And so please watch it. Make it worth my time. I would really appreciate it. If you get a chance, please like and subscribe. We would really appreciate it. That's the best way for people who could do it. Click the bell. If you get a chance, you'll know when we put up new episodes. And from this point on, will be every other week. So it'll be, regular Earth Station Who now. And, we'll have Dave popping up every once in a bit. We'll have, the rest of our lovely faces for a while. So it should be pretty cool because, I'll be here because I can't afford anything anymore because I had to move. So it's like, I'm not doing much anymore. So definitely, please, we definitely would love to hear from you guys. Love to see you. If you get a chance, check out our Facebook group. Definitely we also have our Instagram page, but most of our action does happen up on Facebook. So please, folks, do check it out. All right, let's thank our crew for being here as always. Dave, thank you as always, my friend.
Anytime you want me, I'll be here.
Yay. I always like hearing that, my friend. You want to promote your stuff?
You can always find me on the rathole.ca or the rathole.dotca, depending on the platform. As well, I have a new show with Melanie over there called Happieness Patrol. And you can find that at youtube.com/@Happieness Patrol Show. And we do once a month a show where we do something that makes us happy, talk about Star Wars.
Hey, there you go. So you're not painting everything pink, in other words.
The logo is, in fact, blue and pink.
Oh, there you go.
For that very Doctor Who reason. We were named after one franchise and talk about a different one.
There you go. That's pretty awesome. That is cool. It's always great having you, sir.
Appreciate it.
Let's thank our regulars, of course. Ms. Mary Ogle, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. What a great discussion we had today. I really enjoyed it.
Anything you want to promote?
You can find my art at maryogle.com or on Etsy at eVision Arts.
Excellent. Ms. Melanie Dean, thank you as always.
Thank you as always.
And anything you want to promote other than your new podcast?
Yeah, other than Dave had just mentioned with the Happieness Patrol. No, I've just been working, so nothing else. Nothing else for me on my front. You could always see me on Pieces of Melee on Instagram if I'm posting anything. I'm still worky mode.
Yeah, I totally understand that. It's like I went dark for 3 weeks on social media. People were writing me, "Are you okay?" It's like, yes.
It's called real life. Yes. Sorry, Gall.
Yeah, life gets in the way sometimes. And Mr. Gordon, I'm so glad you're here. I was worried, after Dragon Con that you'd be too exhausted to talk some Who.
I mean, that's the only reason that Dave's here, right? Because it's a sort of in case I had to bow out.
He is,
yeah. I am the backup.
Exactly. He is the official Mr. Howdy at Pensacon.
I'm just glad I get to be on the show with Dave, because usually he fills in for me. So I'm glad that we get to share some space together. So that's cool.
Mm-hmm. Well, exactly. So very awesome, sir. And how can people find your stuff?
People can find my stuff by following me on all the social medias. NewLegendMike.com goes to my link tree. And I do wanted to announce, because right before Dragon Con, I made the official announcement of our next project, which is it's an anthology of short stories. It's supposed to come out in November. We'll see. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we're doing our due diligence to try to make that happen. But it is called Jukebox Thrillers, and it is a anthology of short stories by top talents, inspired by top tunes from the 80s. And we got a lineup of amazing people, including one person on this podcast. Mary has contributed a story, and it's awesome. Totally awesome. Totally tubular. But it's a lot of fun putting it together. A lot of work. We had a lot of people that want to be involved with this, and I can't wait till people get a chance to read it, because it's going through all the stories. There's not a bad one here yet. So it's been an amazing project to be part of.
Very nice, sir. Very, very nice. Looking forward to reading that one. So it's pretty cool. I liked your Tales from the Dragon. So it was very cool.
Yeah, and I do want to say thank you for everybody who is still supporting that project. That is going to charity. So that's getting some shout outs. Some people are discovering it for the first time. And I had a lot of compliments about it over the Dragon Con weekend, and some people were even bought it for friends because they liked it so much. So I really appreciate that. And of course, Mary's part of that as well. So
Mary had an amazing cover on that one too. So
absolutely, the cover and her contribution, some amazing words that were recently quoted by somebody online. So
that's very nice,
isn't it?
Yeah, very nice.
So it's all about Mary.
It is. There's something about Mary. It's awesome. All right, my stuff real quick. Over on Tales from Hollywoodland, we just published our 100th episode, and we did the best movies of all time. And so it was a lot of fun. I can't believe those old guys made it to 100 episodes. I am totally shocked on that one. A lot of fun, a lot of great movies we talked about. And then over on Julian Schlossberg's Movie Talk, we have the second part of our interview with actor, comedian Jeff Carlin. It's a great interview. A lot of people know him from Curb Your Enthusiasm and also the Goldbergs. And so it's pretty awesome. And in 2 weeks on that show, we will be having Mr. John Cleese. So it should be a ton of fun to talk to him and, find out all about his time doing Fawlty Towers, Monty Python, A Fish Called Wanda, and so many other projects. So it's going to be a ton of fun to hear all about that. So I'll probably be bringing that up in our next episode. So it should be interesting to see. Until then, on behalf of all of us here at our station Who, it's good to be back. It's good to be, won't be regular, so it's going to be nice to be doing that. And we will be back again in 2 weeks. And so, Peter, so you know what we're going to be talking about in 2 weeks. We're going to be looking at The Mutants, the Third Doctor story. So it should be a ton of fun to do. And until then, on behalf of everyone here, we will see you. Be well, my friends, and be safe. Bye.
You have been listening to Earth Station Who, a pop culture podcast dedicated to all things Doctor Who, featuring talents from throughout space and time. All topics on the show are the sole opinions of the individuals and are to be used for entertainment value alone. You can subscribe to our show wherever fine podcasts are found, or check out our website, earthstationwho.com.
Don't forget to check us out on Facebook or Instagram, and if you enjoyed the show, please write to us at feedback@earthstationwho.com. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you on the next journey of Earth Station Who.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping at the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.